line, he will be able to take whatever issues you have. You can just drop it on the chat box and, send it to everybody. Mr. Palumi will be able to take those inquiries. He will answer you via the chat box as well, so that we can move faster. So having said this, I would like to ask everybody to please mute themselves, and let us give the floor to Dr. Julius Faremi to, take us through the course, and hopefully we will finish it today. Thank you and welcome. Dr. Faremi, thank you
Thank
so
you
much.
very much, Dr. Oyalowo. Once again, I want to say a warm good afternoon to all participants that have joined. And I know some are still trying to connect to join us. But just like Dr. Oyalowo said, we intend to actually maximize the time that is available to us today and to tidy up the session, the workshop. What we will also do is that someone is going to be on standby, Mr. Kolumi Abiodun, to take our complaints for those of us that may be having one issue or the other, maybe as a result of a different platform vis-a-vis the operating system or the web browser and all of that, so that we won't be stuck while trying to sort all of the problems. But for those of us that were actually able to catch up with all that we did last Thursday, because the slides were actually sent as a follow-up to the Thursday session, with the intention of facilitating the ease of following up and for all of us to be on the same page. So for those of us that I'm sure that we're able to look at the slides, I'm sure we'll be on the same page by now. So we'll just be taking it further from where we stop, and we'll be able to round it up. So last week, a quick recap. Last week, we actually deliberated on what the Mendeley tool is. We were able to look at how to actually get started by downloading and installing the Mendeley Desktop Manager. And for virtually all of us, I'm sure one of the experience that we had last week was the fact that we realized that there are a suite of applications from the owners of Mendeley, Elsevier, that are actually meant to support researchers. So, sorry, I will, Mr. Pelumi Abiodun is here with us. So, Pelumi, you are most welcome.
Thank you
So,
very much.
we've introduced you. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, sir. I can hear you very
So,
well,
Mr.
sir.
Pelumi Abiodun is of the Department of Building, University of Lagos. So, he's going to be assisting us with all the charts, all the complaints. Is also very, very versatile with the interface of Mendeley and how to get started with the use of Mendeley. So he's one of us. So for all our complaints, or we can conveniently drop them in the chat box. We'll be attending to those complaints. So you are welcome. So
Thank you, sir.
yeah. So as I was saying, so we realized that Elsevier has a host of suits that is actually meant to support researchers with respect to managing literature and having proper citation. Well, needless to say that Elsevier owns the much sought after Scopus, the database that houses several high-profile research outputs. So therefore, they've actually invested in some of these suits to support researchers, to support scholars in turning out high quality research work. And you will agree with me that the citation and the referencing is one of the major and critical issues with writing. So we take it up from there. For those of us that, so I'll be sharing my screen because it's a master class. For those of us that have gone through the slides, you agree with me that there are actually several dimensions to the task within the Mendeley itself. And that's why personally I decided not to just follow the slide verbatim. So because it's a master class, and I believe that after this master class we should be able to have hands-on capacity to actually use and utilize Mendeley, at least at an intermediate level. You know, last week I said just with every computer application, there are actually three categories. We have the beginners, we have the intermediate, and we have the advanced or the professional level of use. So it's expected that after this master's class, at least everybody, or each of the participants, you have an intermediate user's capacity to explore Mendeley further and to be able to use Mendeley to improve literature management, citation, and referencing. So last Thursday, we were able to download Mendeley. So I'll right away go to I will be sharing my screen right away. So yeah, center, please, can you enable my screen sharing, please? I need to share my screen now. Hello, Dr. Yalo, are you there?
It's done, sir.
All right. So thank you. So last week we actually stopped at the interface. For those of us that were with us last Thursday, you realize that we were able to have this kind of interface, and we were able to explore the literature search within the Mendeley desktop menu. And also, we were able to also install the web importer and the Word plugin, because we'll be making use of those two add-in. They are part of the suite for Mendeley to actually use Mendeley to support our literature search. So last week we had an example. We used the literature search to actually search for COVID-19, and it gave us several results, and we downloaded the one titled "The COVID-19 Epidemic." So we'll be making reference to that particular material that was downloaded. We also use the web importer to actually access the web page of the NCDC, the Nigeria Center for Disease Control. For those of us that were also part of the session last week, we accessed there, and I think essentially we downloaded one of the guidelines, but I think someone downloaded the guideline for schools, for reopening of schools. But we clicked on we clicked on the guidelines for health workers, this particular one, and we use that as example for locally sourced literature or reports or guidelines, as in this case. And the reason is that we actually discussed that most times when we use the literature search may not be sufficient, because it's going to pull literature from virtually the database, and it's going to be that we'll be seeing studies or outputs that are already within Scopus database, within the reach of Elsevier. And we realize that some local studies or some local organization whose outputs or whose reports are not within Elsevier will be excluded from the search results. For example, one of the trending thematic area of study now is that of COVID-19. So if we want to, let's assume that we are embarking on a study that has to do with COVID-19. Of course, all the results within the search box or within the literature search will be very, very useful. However, because our study is within the local content or within the local space of Nigeria, it's also important that we consult what the Nigerian Center for Disease Control has actually said about COVID-19. And that is where the web importer becomes very, very useful and becomes very, very important. And for those of us that were able to follow through last week, after installing the web importer, the icon is going to show just very close to the search bar, to our search bar. So either in the front of the search bar or underneath the search bar or at the back, towards the left of the search bar. The web importer, if it's properly installed, will be around the search bar. And the whole idea is that whenever you, the researcher, or whenever you come across any material of interest from your Google search, all you need to do is to click on the web importer. So if you click on the web importer, by default, Mendeley is going to actually elicit the details of that particular material. So this is where we stopped last week. So I want to encourage us to still go back to this particular point, because this is a master's class, so I don't just want to gloss over the activities. So please, for those of us that are up to date with the installations and the plugin, especially with the web importer, if you have installed the web importer, please go ahead to the web page of the Nigerian Center for Disease Control, and from there, let me go back to that page. From there, this is the web page, Nigerian Center for Disease Control. Underneath there, you'll find the guideline, COVID-19 guidelines for health workers, IPC and PPE use. So I need us to actually click on that. If you click on that, you are going to have a pop-up that will actually show the PDF format of the guideline. So if once that is done, then you realize that then you click on your web importer. Once that is open, you click on the icon of your web importer wherever your web importer is located. It doesn't matter. So please, I need everybody to be on this same page so that we can take it from there. Sorry, just like last week when we started without power, maybe after like 1 hour they brought power, but it's interesting that today the power is being restored early enough. So we started with my gen also. So 1 minute the power alarm just beeped, showing that there is power. So 1 minute, please. Just I seek your permission to quickly change over my source of power from the gen to PACN in a minute, while we try to get to where I am, so that in the next couple of seconds, once I return, we take it from here. Thank you. All right. So thank you. So I want to believe that we are all at this point. So the first thing I want to call your attention to is that for those of us that are having a fresh library, the Mendeley library that has not profiled folders or that haven't actually labeled or that haven't created any profile, any folders, you realize that you are going to have maybe all documents in this bar. I want to believe that you are seeing my screen. Please, can you confirm that you are seeing my screen?
Yes.
Hello, can you see my screen? Hope everybody is seeing my screen.
Yes, sir. We can see your
Yes,
screen.
we can see
All
your
right.
screen.
So, as researchers, one of the things that is very, very important with respect to the pace at which we do our work is organization. So we need to organize our file. You see that for me, this bar, you will see something like maintenance management. Is the web importer is asking me to choose the folder in which I want to store this material, this guideline. So that takes me back. I'm going to take you back to your, I'm going to ask us to go back to our Mendeley, the real Mendeley interface. So please, can you go back to your Mendeley interface, the library interface here? So once we are here, obviously you see my library, all documents, recently added, recently read, favorite, and all of that. Then beneath all of the folders, probably yours will not be as long as this. You can see create folder. Can you see create folder? So if you can see the create folder, please kindly click on that create folder. If you click on the create folder will change to untitled folder. So because I want to start, these are some of the previous works that I have done in the past. So I've collected literature that has to do with some of these thematic areas or research areas. But now I want to do something on COVID-19. So this untitled folder, I want to rename it to COVID-19. So please name yours to COVID-19 too. So once you name it to COVID-19, you can just click outside the box. Maybe you can click on sorted or anything. Once you click that, COVID-19 folder will be created. Once you just click outside, after typing in that COVID-19, all you need to do is just click anywhere. You can click on unsorted, you can click on all documents, anything. Once you click on anything, that folder is created. So hope we are there. Do we have the folder now?
Yes,
Do we
sir.
all have? Yeah. So fine, great. So we now go back to that same web page. So and change whatever you have here, whatever this selection that you have there. Click on this drop down and scroll down to look for COVID-19. So I'm trying to check for my COVID-19. Okay, it hasn't shown here. So I'll try again. I want to try again and see if it has dropped. If it has not dropped, I will close the web importer and click on the web importer again. Okay, it's not still there. It has not still picked it. So let me type in COVID-19. Okay, it's yet to pull it up. Is here to pull it up. So what I'm going to do is that I can add another, I can either add it to my library. Are you there? I can add it because what you have here, the web importer is web-based. So I can either add it, I can add it to my library, then later transfer it to the web importer, or I can come back. You can come back here. Please come back to the library. If you are within the library space now? So within the library space, if you are within the library space, please kindly check under this file, edit, view, tools, help. There are some small icons. Can you see these tiny icons? They add folders, related, sync, and help. Can we see that? Do we have these small icons here?
Yes.
So if we have, please click on sync. So if you click on that sync, you can see the synchronization bar beneath at the lower part of your library interface. You can see my sync 18, 60, 84. So this sync, you know, the library interface is a desktop application. So each time I click on that sync, automatically it syncs information, but at its own pace. But in this case, I want the newly created folder to reflect in my web importer. So all I need to do is to click on sync so that it syncs that with the cloud space. So that by the time I go back to that web importer interface, I can see my COVID-19 folder. So let's go back now and check. I'm trying to make sure that this does not disturb me. So now, COVID-19, let me search again. COVID-19, okay, it's not still coming up. Let me close and try again, open. Oh, okay, I know, let's see. Let me click on that file itself. Let's click on the PDF file. So then click on the web importer again. So by now it should drop. All right, so let's drop that. Okay, can you see it now? Can you see it now? Just drop the PDF file, re-click on the PDF, then click on the web importer again. Can we see that? Are we on the same page? Can we see it now? Hello, do you have your COVID-19 folder synchronized?
Yes, sir.
All right, so so you just check on that COVID-19 folder and you say add. So automatically that material will be added to your COVID-19 folder. Are you there? So I can close my web importer, then go back to my library. So in this my library now, also because I just added online, by the time I sync, by the time I do another sync, the material will appear. Can you see the material now appearing? So once you come back to this COVID-19, just click on the sync. the synchronization. Can you see it? Is it there? Are you there? Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. My own material is not showing. The title is not showing. Just
Please click on the sync. Click on that synchronization again. It should appear.
Yes.
Click
Yes,
on your COVID-19 folder and the synchronization button afterwards. It should appear. Are you there? Is it showing, please? I need to be sure that you are here so that you can get the...
It's showing, sir. The web page is correct, but it's writing it like Arabic. It's not showing the title like your own.
Did you follow the same step? Do you have this material?
Yes,
Did
sir.
you?
And I linked it. Yes, sir.
Yes, and your web importer, did your web importer show that this is a report, and did it show all of this?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It did.
So,
It did. In fact,
and you were able to click on this. Did you click on hard?
yes,
Did
sir,
you
I
click
did.
on? Right.
Yes, sir.
So please, ma, go back to the web page, the library interface. On that
Yes, sir.
library interface, on your COVID-19 folder,
Yes, sir.
on your COVID-19 folder, click on synchronize
Yes, sir.
and ensure that this synchronization runs through from 0 to 100.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Well, you need to click on that so that it runs from 0 to 100. So for those of us that have this material already, do we have people with this already? Do you have this in your folder? Because I want to be sure in your COVID-19 folder within the library's interface. Do you have this?
Okay, sir. For some reason, it is that it's not syncing. It's moving, but it's XX something.
And is the internet okay? Is the system connected to the internet?
Yes, sir. I believe so, sir. It is. And
Okay. Do we have people with this that have actually that have this same interface? Do you have participants with this interface? Please, I want to be sure that we are on this interface so that we move on. Are we there? All right, I want to assume that we are on the interface because people are not responding. Anyway, so from here, you realize that the material is not attached, because ordinarily, if the PDF is attached, you will see the file here. Under files, you see, once you click on that material, infection prevention and control recommendations during health and whatever. So it's showing the title. We'll come back to the issue of the author. The author is a NCDC. So we'll come back to the issue of the author. But the first thing I want to do is to add the material, because by the time I add the material, it is possible for Mendeley to pull some additional information. So what I want to do is to pick that material from my download. You know, the material initially, when you downloaded it drops in your download, right? So oftentimes what I recommend, you know, last week I spoke about, but that may be another, it may be a discussion for another day. So let's just, for the sake of time, let's just go to my documents. So within my documents, I want to create a new folder called COVID-19 so that I can put the material there. So I have this new folder called COVID-19. So I'm creating that new folder called COVID-19. So I want to bring the material from my download into my COVID-19. So all I need to do is this is the material. I want to either copy or cut it. Let's say I want to copy it to my COVID-19 folder. So I've done that. So now that the material is in my COVID-19 folder, I want to now add the material. I want to add the material to these details. So all I need to do, there are two options. The first option is to click on these add files. After clicking on the material, the line where the material is, you can see the time I added it, 1:26 p.m. So what I want to do is to click on add files. If I click on add files, another dialog box will open to request for the file I want to add. So all I need to do is to click on my documents, COVID-19, then I'll click on the PDF file. And you can see that it's already added. Can you see it now? It's already added. Now, that is option number one. Option number two is that I can actually leave all of these steps. Let's assume that I have actually downloaded the material prior to this time. So what I will do is to go to that my desktop, that my documents file, then I will just drag the material. I will drag that PDF material into my COVID-19 folder of Mendeley. You know why it's not making any change? Because the material is already there. So let's use that to add the second material. You know, this is, you remember last week we also downloaded one material called the COVID-19 epidemic or something like that. Okay, in fact, this is the COVID-19 epidemic. So that means I've even added the wrong material to the guideline. So I'm going to remove it because the guideline material is different from this. So I need to be sure of, let me go and check the name of the guideline material. Okay, that's having a different name. So let me download that. So if you have your folder created already, you can just download directly to that folder, which is what I'm going to do in this case. So let me save. So I've downloaded to the folder. So I'm going to replace the material, the information, the file, because it wasn't the right file that I picked. So you can see that it wasn't the right file. So I'm going to come back here from these details. I'm going, look at, from the files, there's actually a box. There is a cancel box here that will allow me or permit me to actually remove that file. Peradventure, I made mistake, just like I've done in this case. So then to add the right file, so I can now add the right file, this 172 underscore 158 and so on. So I've added the right file now. Right now, also, like I was saying earlier, that there are two materials for us that we actually assessed last week. We assessed the COVID-19 epidemic and this particular guideline. So this guideline we assessed using the web importer. The other one we actually got through literature, the literature search. So from my download, I've moved this to my COVID-19 folder in my document. So all I need to do now is to just drag it in here into my COVID-19 folder. So now it's not yet there. So because it needs to show, it needs to appear in this. Let's see, copy. I want to find out why it is not copying. Because we should have, the moment you drag it in here, it should appear. Okay, let me close this and try it again. Could it be because I'm sharing the screen? Okay, let me try and add another material. You can also try to add the material that we downloaded last week into your Mendeley. Or, all right, let me check my library if it's there. I want to check my library if it's there. So COVID-19, because if it's there, it may also COVID-19
so, Dr. Faremi,
yes, sir.
Is it not just possible we leave it in downloads and sort it out later?
No, why I'm saying so is that so that we can actually be on the same page. If you check, sir, if you check the folder now, you know there are several options by which you can populate the library, because without populating the library, we can't actually proceed.
Okay, sir.
So if you leave it in the download, you still need to put it in your Mendeley library. Okay. Do you understand that, sir? If it's not in your Mendeley library, you can't use it.
Okay.
So instead of leaving it, your files can actually be anywhere. But the most important thing is that it has to be in the Mendeley library at the end of the day, in the desktop, which is irrespective of whichever folder you are actually bringing it from your desktop. Do you understand it now, sir? From your document, it could be in your download, it could be in your, people leave their materials in their download, it can be there. And from the download, you move you move the material to your Mendeley library.
Okay.
You realize the emphasis I'm trying to even make, sir, is that if you look at the material, the epidemic,
Yes.
you realize that because of the mistake that we made earlier, you realize that this material, this prevention, control, and recommendation, the guideline is seeing the COVID-19 epidemic material as the same material. Is seeing both as the same material, and is not right. So I'm going to go back to my library. I'm going back to my library to delete both of them so that I can, initially we made a mistake of adding both. So now what we need to do is, let me just delete both of them and re-add them into Mendeley. So I'll go back to my web importer and add this, since I added this earlier using the web importer. Okay. So I need to go back You need to repeat the process. And that's why people have done is to first create the folder for the research that we want to embark on. Maybe a generic name, so that whatever material we are collating will be taken into that folder straight up. So I'm repeating this. So I'm adding this to COVID-19 now. So that is added. Then I'll go back. So if I synchronize, it should drop now. And this is also an opportunity for us to, yeah. Can you see that it's showing now? So the right material is showing now. So that's done. Then I don't need this duplicate. So then the other one, the other material from my COVID-19, the initial one, I want to drag that into my COVID-19 folder. So I'm going to change the name because it's not giving me the right name. So this one, what I need to do, because by the virtue of seeing this material as the guideline, so I'm going to come here and change the details. So the details are here. So I can change the details. This is a journal paper. You can, I'm sure you may not likely have this problem, but if you do, so you can change all the details of a particular material, right? You can change the details from the details section, all right? Or better still, I think, let me confirm. So let me see the file for the guideline is okay, is the 172 whatever. So let me try and detach. Maybe that will be faster. Let me try and detach the material. You see that it's showing two things now. So I want to detach this and refresh. So I have detached that. So I need to rename the material to be a journal. This is not a report, it's a journal paper. So I'm changing this to journal. So in this place, if it's a journal, you can see there are several things. So you see journal article. So the details are not correct. So I want to search for the details. So this is not correct. So I'm trying to. So the journal article is, I need to go and pick the details from here. So this is Tropical Medicine and International Health Journal. So I want to pick the details and replace that, because all of these are the things that needs to be changed. This is the title of the journal. So the title of the journal is the COVID-19 epidemic. That's the title of the paper. Then the authors, you see that the authors are not correct. To change the authors. So in changing the author's name, by the time you have, if you have a blank author's bar, you can see the format, the required format. The author's name format is supposed to be the last name, comma, first name. So in this case now, you can see that, meanwhile, in the journal, this journal is presented in the first name, initial, and last name, right? So we need to be sure of the format by which the name is presented. So the last name first, the first author is Velavan, then comma, then first name. This is Terul Malaisami, right? So there are more than one author, so I will press enter key, the enter key on my system to go to the next bar. The name of each author should be on a line. Once you type the name of the last name, the first names, then you press enter to go to the next bar. So the next author is Meya Christiana or Meya Christian. Meya Christian. Sometimes it will suggest the name if the name is already within the Mendeley database. So those are the authors. Then the journal, the title of the journal is not World Health Organization, it's Tropical Medicine and International Health. So obviously the year is year 2020. You can see the volume. The volume is volume 25. The issue is issue 3. Then the pages are 278 to 280. Pages 278 to 280. 278 to 280. All right. So we can see. So the information is, so then if there is an abstract, the abstract is supposed to be here. So this has pulled the previous, the abstract of the previous material. So I need to change all of that. So now I have the right information for the material. So if I go back here, I can see that there are two different. So I've put the right information here now. Now, this is the guideline. So the guideline 2 is authored by NCDC. So I need to add whatever information that is missing in the guideline as it is in my library. You see, once you double click on the document, you can see that whatever material you have here, whatever literature, if you double click on it, it will open a tab. It will open another tab for you to actually view that literature. And this tab is for you to, you can view, you can read, we are going to come to, you can highlight from this particular interface. It's going to open the material for you. You can read, you can make comments, you can take notes and all of that. So let's go back to the library. So each time you double click on the material, you will have extended tabs. So if I double click again, it's going to open the guideline. So this guideline, I need to be sure that the information is complete. And I can do that by clicking the details of the material button, the small button that I showed all participants last week. You can see where, if you can see my screen, you will see there's a small arrow here. So if I click on that arrow, I can see the details. The details will be expanded, and I can use this to actually get to alter or update the information of my material. So I'm trying to see if there are additional information for for the guideline. So all the mixed up information, I'm going to remove that. I know, initially there was a mix up. So this is the file. Then the author is Nigeria Center for Disease Control. Nigeria Center for Disease Control. Disease control. All right. So I've done. I want us to get maybe one or two more materials so that we can enhance. We can actually avoid all the initial errors that we had. So let's go back to Mendeley, and from the literature search, let's look for another material. Let's say COVID-19. For those of us that have forgotten, the first thing we did was to do COVID-19 search. And from the COVID-19 search, we look for maybe, for example, let's see this. Do we all have this COVID, this World Health Organization declares global emergency, a review of the 2019 novel coronavirus? Do we have this? The International Journal of Surgery. Can we see this from our search? Please, let's do COVID-19 literature search again. So I need us to, so that we just have one more material.
It's there, sir.
Okay, so let's click on that. And you remember what I said last week? I said for any material that you want to download, once you click on it and the details comes up, ensure that the material has catalog IDs. Understand? Before you proceed to actually look for the material, because what you have tons of outputs. So the tons of outputs does not mean that some of them will be with incomplete information. So if you have that, you click on it, it gives us the details. Then from the details menu, we can go to view research catalog entry for this paper. And obviously to take us to the web page where you can actually download the material. So it's taking me to my web page for me to be able to download the material. So last week we said, so it has taken me to the web page where I can download the materials. And there are two options. If I'm signing into Mendeley as I am now, I can click on view PDF. But if I'm not signed into my online, the web Mendeley, I can just click on this DOI. If I click on the DOI, it will take me to the PDF download of that same particular material of the journal paper. Now, you can see that this particular one is, I think this is, let's click on download PDF. Download this article. So it's trying to preview my download. So, and it's suggesting some other literature, but this is the one that I want. So I click on download and the download will commence. So for me, I have my download folder already. So from that, my download folder, I want to pick it and put it in my COVID-19 folder. So from my download folder, I will go to my download folder and pick it up from there. If you so wish, you can leave yours in your download folder. But just see what I want to do. I want to copy it to my COVID-19 folder as the third material. So I have it in my COVID-19 folder as the third material. So I can go back to my Mendeley desktop, the library, and go back to my COVID-19 folder. Now, this material, all I need to do now, since I have downloaded it, you can see the sequence. The sequence is that from literature search, I've searched for COVID-19, and I know that Mendeley search will limit me to much more reliable and highly profiled search results. And from there, I've picked and I've downloaded a particular journal. So that journal now, I want to drag it into my Mendeley. So all I need to do is just to drag it down, and it will pull the information by itself. Can you see that? Can you see that all the manual input that I was doing before may not actually be necessary? Can you see the most recently added one? You can see that by itself, it has pulled the details of the author, it has pulled the title of the journal, it has pulled the year, and the name of the journal, published in International Journal of Surgery.
Yes, sir.
Can we all try that? So just by dragging, just by dragging into Mendeley, Mendeley was able to actually pull all the information, recognize the journal, and pull all the information. So if we are able to do that, that's what we do to just collect information, collect materials. So for us as researchers, you know, oftentimes you want to have at least maybe to get started, maybe 15, 20 materials, you know, and as your work progresses, you are having much more information. For example, for a typical PhD write-up, you will need tons of information. If you are doing a master's thesis, for example, maybe you will need maybe like 30, 40 before you get started. For example, if you look at, let me click on this, for example, this is a typical, this is my PhD thesis folder. You understand? You can see 576 materials. So that is how those materials are actually compiled. And once you have them in Mendeley, it becomes very easy for you. I've done in some other areas of interest. In FM, I have 35. In basic maintenance management, I have 125, and so on and so forth. So that is how you populate your library. So you can always create another folder. You understand? If you are researching in another area, you can always create another folder. These are some of the areas I've worked in the past. We have project management. Then even for research methods, you can see these are my materials, different materials on research methods that will help me. Each time I'm writing, I want to actually justify an approach. I want to confirm some things. I have about 80 materials that can always help me or that could be of help. So for this COVID-19, we have 3 materials now. So getting started, we now want to write. So now, please, can we open up a Word document? Let's launch our Word document. We want to begin to write now. So please open up your Word document. We can open up a blank page. a blank Word document. Are we here? Are we here? Do we have our Word document open?
Yes, sir.
Now, before you proceed, please,
Yes.
I need you to check to be sure that you have your Mendeley plugin. Please click on this review menu. On your Word document, you have file, home, insert, design, layout, reference, mailings. References. Click on the references menu. References menu. Among those, your menu, depending on the Word document, if you are using Microsoft Word, it should be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It should be the 6th menu. If you are using WPS or LibreWord, then you may have it elsewhere, but just click on references. Look for the references of your Word document to be sure that your Mendeley Word plugin is installed. You will see this Open Mendeley and this Insert Citation of Mendeley. Can you see that? If you cannot find this, then that means your Mendeley Word plugin is yet to be installed. Then we'll go back. Do you have this kind of environment?
Yes, sir.
No.
Yes, I
Okay.
can see mine.
Okay, for those that are saying no, please quickly, a very quick one. Go back to your Mendeley. From your Mendeley desktop, click on Tools. But you need to first of all close that Word document. So for those that don't have it, please close the Word document. Close it. Not minimize, close. You have to close completely. Close it. Then you come to Mendeley Tools. Under the Mendeley Tools, you will see Install MS Word Plugin. Please click on that install. For us that have it, it's showing us on install. For those, because we already have. So for those that don't have, please click on that install MS Word plugin. It's in fact, it takes less than a minute for it to install. So once that is installed, you open your Word document, you reopen it, and you should be on the same page with us. So ensure that you have this. So the first thing you do when you are writing is to actually determine or to select the appropriate referencing style that is required of your literature. You know, different publishers has different requirements with respect to citation style, but most times the APAL is the most required, or often the most often required. So you can see that I have picked APASIST in this case. You are going to see the flexibility of Mendeley, the exciting aspect of Mendeley, and one of the key justification for us to actually switch to Mendeley. So now, once this is opened, you understand, once your Word is opened, let me say that I want to put in my title. Let's say COVID-19 and the workplace, for example. Let me say this is my title. You know, that can be my title. I bold it, do all of that, and I come back again to unselect the format. I want to ensure that I remove the bold, the selected bold, for me to write. My screen is really, yeah, is busy, so is now. Okay, now, because I want to write about COVID-19 and the workplace, for example, the first thing is I need to have a grasp of what COVID-19 is all about. You know, basic things, we say introduction. So this is the draft of my work. So introduction. So I come back to this by my Mendeley. You know, I have downloaded, let's assume I have like 10 or 15 materials that I have downloaded that has prepared me to commence writing. Now, please, are you all here? Because this is very, very important. This is one of the critical sections of this master's class. Are you all here
Yes,
now? Sir. Right. So you will realize that there is another search bar here. There is another search. Apart from literature search, you know, all along we've been using literature search, right? There's another search bar to the right top of your Mendeley desktop interface. So for me, for example, I can have tons of materials. So what I want to write about, I want to start write up by talking about what COVID-19 is. So all I need to do is to put COVID-19 here in my search. Now, it's going to give you, it's going to bring up materials that contains COVID-19. Expectedly, all these three materials have to do with COVID-19. So it's expected. So I can click on anyone. I'm trying to maximize this. Let me maximize this so that you can see the view better. Yeah. So you can see the maximize screen. In this maximize screen, I want to call your attention to something. The first thing is that it highlights in each material all sections containing that keyword, COVID-19. Can you see it? So for example, let me look at the first material. I can double click on this since it has highlighted that it contains COVID-19. It will take me to the material itself. And if there are sections that has COVID-19, it's going to bring it out. Now, I want to call your attention to something. My COVID-19 search, I haven't written my COVID-19 very well because the right way of writing COVID-19 is to write COVID-19. Can you see that? Because despite the fact that this material has several information about COVID-19, he's not highlighting it because it's different from what I have clicked or what I have searched, what I have clicked as my search word. So, however, I can, for the purpose of this class, I can just go on and say, oh, okay, let me read, I want to read this material to see if it contains information about introductory information that I can actually leverage on to get my own introduction. For example, let's look at what the material is saying. The material is trying to tell us where the COVID-19 started from. It could be of interest to me that the epicenter of COVID-19 following the outbreak is in Hubei province of the People's Republic of China. Look at, because this is of interest to me, you know what? I want to highlight it, right? Please take note, look at it. I'm highlighting that section. You select it. Please, can you select, and you will see highlights. Can you see the highlights up? Also, even without using the menu, when I select, there are three small boxes here. Three small menu. The first one is to highlight. The first one says highlight this text. The second one says highlight this text and add a note. Often highlight the text and add a note so that apart from the fact that I'm just highlighting, I want to add a note to say, okay, for introduction. So look at, I want to click on this highlight. Can you see my screen?
Yes,
Please, are you
sir.
seeing? Yeah. So I want to click on this middle one. It's saying highlight and add note. So I want to put the section in which I'm going to be referencing this material. So I say it's part of my introduction. So I've put that. So like that, you understand? I've been able to actually say that this material is going to be used for my introduction, right?
Yes, sir.
So now, also interested in the fact that the material is telling me that COVID-19 is one of is a virus that is closely related to SARS-CoV virus. You can see, maybe after reading, it says that SARS-CoV-2 belongs to the B lineage of the beta coronavirus and all of that. So I can also select that. Let me zoom, let me make it smaller so that it's easier for me to highlight that. So it's not capturing everything. Yeah. So SARS, so I've zoomed, I've minimized that. So I also say this is also part of my introduction. So each time I open this, you know why I'm doing this? Is that next time I open this material, I won't need to bother my head on which section of the material have caught my interest or have been helpful to me. I already know because it will remain highlighted, right? So I'm done with this. Let's assume that I'm done with this material. I leave that. I want to go back to the second material, our own guideline. So I will scroll down and look at what, probably from the table of the content of the guideline, I can find things that will interest me. So I want to look at what should be done in the case of COVID-19. Maybe I want to go to here. So to see what should be done. Okay, this is talking about suspected cases or suspected case of COVID-19. So this says that persons with any of the following symptoms, fever, cough, or difficulty in breathing, who within 14 days before the onset of illness had any of the following exposures, could be a suspected COVID-19 case. So I can also highlight that. So I also highlight that and says is still part of my introduction. So fine. Then, sorry, let me. I'm in a meeting. I'm in an online meeting. I'm in an online meeting, sir. So sorry. So that is highlighted. Then let's say that is what I need in that. Then let's go to the third literature. So now, before I go to the third literature, let's do something. Let's review this our search word. Let me put the dash in between. Then the dash will further refine my search. Now, with that dash now, if I open the third literature, it's not still highlighting. And I noticed that all of the cases where COVID-19 is referenced in this material, the COVID-19 is in capital letter. So let me close this and let's go back. You know, I've read the first two literature. Let me go back and refine this to be in caps, COVID-19. So, yeah, so my search. Now you can see it has given me some, it has highlighted all the 8 sections where COVID, because it will also help if we can have our search to tally with the way the keyword has been put. So you can see, so for so many reasons, if you are reading a very, very voluminous material, it actually takes you to sections that may likely be of interest to you. You can see, it says, on the 30th of January 2020, the World Health Organization declared the Chinese outbreak of COVID-19 to be a public health emergency. I need this also because I need the date that it was actually declared as probably a pandemic or an emergency. So I still say this is introduction. Oh, okay, I haven't removed my caps. All right, so now I'm ready to write, right? I'm ready to write. I've opened the highlighted sections of my work, of my literature. So I can now come back to my Word documents to now begin to write based on some of the ideas that I have gathered from this my literature. For example, I can say that, let me say, the novel COVID-19 started in the Hubei. I need to confirm I want to check that exact name. Hubei province of China. So you see, I come back. Hubei province of the People's Republic of China. Now, look at what I want to do now. I have to go and cite the source of this information, right? Because I wasn't there. So I'll come back to my references. I'll now click on insert citation. Insert citation. If I click on, please click on your own insert citation. This dialog box needs to show. It must show. Can you see this dialog box? Insert citation. Have you seen it?
Yes, sir.
Please, I need so many years. So, are we here?
Yeah, so
Security.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
My
Fine.
firewall, whatever is blocking.
You said what, madam? So I will not. You now click on go to Mendeley. So it will take you to your Mendeley desktop. Now, my source of information was from here. You understand, from this material. So I will click on that material. You know, all the 3 materials are already opened, right? So this one, I will click on those smaller tabs. You see, this is the guideline. This is this first material. This is the other one. So this one is the one that told me that this started from Hubei province within China. So once I'm on here, can you see there are several menus here, the small icon. One of them, after the synchronization, is site. So please click on that site. Once you click on that site, it takes you back to your Word document. And automatically, Mendeley will write the name of the author and the year. It will cite it the way it's supposed to be cited. Can you see it? Please try that. So are we there? Are we on the same page?
Please, sir, where is the site again?
Oh, from this your reference. Under this your references, you click on this insert citation, the Mendeley own, because your word too has its own to the right. You can see mine on this left having the Mendeley icon. So you click on that, you go to Mendeley. When on that your Mendeley page, you click on the material that you've actually referenced. You click on that, the tab for that material. Then you can see the site. For me, is the third to the last. Third to the last to the right of the small menu icons. Have you seen it? Can you see it now? Look at where my cursor is, my mouse. Have you seen it?
Yes, sir.
All right, so fine. So that's an example. I can continue. I can say I want to. I've read the materials, and I've realized that the virus was declared a pandemic. So I would say I will come back to my word. I say according to, I will leave that space. You understand? According to, I have seen the authority behind that confirmed the date that the World Health Organization declared it as a pandemic. So according to, I will just put space bar, I put comma, the or COVID-19 was declared an emergency on the 30th of January 2020. Now, I want to come back to this place because I want to go and cite that source according to, so you can see in front of my two, I brought my cursor back. I'll come back again and say references, insert citation, go to my Mendeley. This is, I'll come and click on that material. Can you see it now? Then I will click on cite. Can you see that Mendeley has automatically put in the citation? Now, please take note, note something. Take note of what I want to do now. Now, there are two essential citation formats. The first is that if the source of the information is appearing at the beginning of a sentence or in between or at the end. This one that appeared at the end, fine, perfect format. It's expected to be in parentheses, and that's what has happened in brackets. But if I'm doing according to, the year of citation is the only one that would be in brackets. But because Mendeley is configured to just put all the citation in brackets, so I need to modify anytime my citation is starting a sentence or is appearing in a form of this according to, I need to modify. So I'll come here and remove these brackets. I need to come here and remove this bracket before the surname of the first author. Then I'll close the bracket in front of 2020. Please do that. Remove the bracket in form of Sorabi, in front of Sorabi et al. Please remove that starting bracket, the starting parenthesis sign. Then you go and put it in front of 2020. Now you see what will happen. The moment I click outside my Word document, I just need to click outside. Mendeley will flag it. It will tell me that the citation has been manually edited. That do you want to keep this manual edit or revert to the automatically formatted version? I want to keep the manual edit because that is the right format for this particular context. So I say keep manual editing or manual edit, and it's fine.
Dr. Faremi,
Yes, sir.
I think as part of the manual editing, the
Yes,
comma after et al. Will have to go. So that the comma will not.
In this context of according to.
Yes.
Perfect. Yes.
Yes. Okay,
Yes.
that goes. Yes.
Yes. Perfect. Thank you so much, sir, for the observation.
My pleasure, sir.
So are we following? Because this is the interesting part. Right now, we want to continue. The Nigerian Center for Disease Control in their guideline has actually suggested to us those things that suggest a patient with COVID-19. So I can say the Nigeria Center for Disease Control has explained that suspected COVID-19 patients would exhibit symptoms, some symptoms such as so I need to check. I want to confirm what the NCDC says. It says, where is that? Okay, I want to go back to my highlighted. Right. So it says we exhibit fever, cough, and difficulty in breathing, right? Such as cough, fever, and difficulty in breathing. Now, I want to cite that also. So that is coming at the end. So I'll say reference, insert citation, go to my Mendeley. So that is from the guideline. So I'll say cite. So can we see how it works? Hello, can we see how it works?
Yes, sir.
Fine.
Yes, yes, sir.
Now, if there are no questions, now look at, so let's assume that I have written like 15 pages and I'm done. So you see, this is the beauty. References. I've written 15 pages, I'm done with my work, and I want to do references. It takes people weeks. For example, if it's a typical thesis. But in this case, I just need few seconds. So all I need to do is I will say references. Then here, I will just click on, instead of this insert citation that we have been using now, I will say insert bibliography. So once I click on that, you can see all of them automatically by Mendeley. So if there are 500 citations, automatically it will just pull it out by itself. So all I just do is to come back and format. I will say this one is bold, this one is bold. Then my paper is ready for, at least for review. Right? Are we there?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Fine. Now,
Yes, sir.
also you may have done some studies. You may have prepared a manuscript. You spent maybe weeks, months preparing the manuscript, and probably you in fact, let me share my own experience. Probably you couldn't meet up with the publisher. Maybe the deadline for submission was a particular date and you couldn't meet up because, like, I had a particular one, I couldn't meet up with the Emirate publisher. So I'm thinking of another outlet, another publisher, maybe one of the Scopus publisher that I want to submit to. The publisher may have a different requirement. You understand? Especially with citation. You know, this has been done in Persist. The publisher may say, no, my own work, my own manuscript is published in Harvard. I don't have any headache. You know what I would do? Look at what I'm just going to do. I'll just come back to this Word document. I'll come to this referencing. You understand? And I'll come here under this style. I'll come here and say, can you hear me? I'll just say Harvard. Automatically, Mendeley will change everything to Harvard for me. Can you see it? Sometimes it could be, let's look at, there is this electric EEE. I want to look at for
MLS.
I want to look at those very, is this IEE, sir? I want to look at those that are sometimes, that can be very, very complex. So, can you see it? So can you see the way it is? So
Exactly.
you understand? Automatically,
Exactly, yes.
it has changed. You know why why it did not change this? Because this you remember that this was manually edited.
Yes.
So this manual editing now, all I need to do is to go back and reinsert it. So I know the particular literature. So I'll come back and insert that literature. So I think is okay. Even from here, from my library, this is it. Because even from here, if it's at that level, you can actually pick from here. I can just select it from here and say sites. So you can see that. So it saves you a lot of headache. So you know, there are some publishers that some editors, this is what they want. They just want you to cite 1, 2, 3, and so on and so forth. Now, it is also possible, you see, so let's go back to Apple. So you can see the flexibility of it. Instead of doing things taking forever. So I've gone back to upper style. Now, I want to, there are some times that you have several authors giving the same point. You understand now? Several authors giving the same point on a particular subject. So, and you want to do multiple citation. Let's assume that all of them, all of the journal papers, all the three actually made reference to the fact that COVID-19 started from the province of Hubei in China, right? So we can come back to this our Word document, and instead of just citing this one person, I will remove this citation and put all of them. So I can come here and say references, insert citation. I'll go to my Mendeley. Then from here, I can select all of them. So using my control key, you understand? I'll just press down my control key and select all of them and say cite, and it will cite all of them. You can see Nigerian Center for Disease Control 2020, Shoebi et al. 2020, May 2020. So that's how it works. And automatically, if peradventure, let me even check my, because I think I was trying to do a study. Let me go and search from all my documents. I'm sure I will still have some COVID-19 materials because I was trying to do something during the lockdown. So you can see, if assuming that this fourth one from occupational safety is part of my reference material, let's assume that is also part of those that have actually established the source of the pandemic. I'll come back here and say insert citation, go to my Mendeley. Let's assume that it's all of them now, even this and this. Then I'll say cite. You see that as I'm adding, as it's adding it to the text, as the literature is being added to the text, it's also pulling up the references by itself because I have created that reference column. So it will go and add to the reference. Then I can also say, let's assume that, go back and do, let's assume that I have this initial one. You can see that it has taken them off by itself. So it's so smart that whatever I'm doing in the body of my work, even if this references is 300 pages away, by itself it will be updating it. Whatever happens within the context of my work is automatically reflected in the reference. Then I can say, let's assume that I have another citation. Let's say references, insert citation, and I just came up with this citation as an extra. You can see that is another citation just beside the existing one. Maybe while I was inputting it, I just left it like this. But in the course of editing my work, I realized that, oh, and this ought to have been together with this. I can merge the two together. So all I need to do is you select the first one, then you use control button, you press down the control button and select the second one. Then you come to this reference. Once you click 2 or 3 references that are adjacent to one another, this citation will change to merge citation. You remember that this button used to be insert citation. So, but now it's showing as merge. So you just click on merge and it puts everything in the right perspective, in the same box, in the same parentheses. So,
hello, sir.
yes, please.
Please, can I ask a question? Good
Yes,
afternoon, sir.
good
Let's
afternoon.
assume you don't have all of these on the Mendeley library, that you're using a textbook and you want it to be in this order. How do you do that?
You need to create an image of that textbook in
Okay.
your library.
Okay.
You understand? So
Yeah.
you see, the library is very, very dynamic. So I can actually create probably maybe a Word document, put the details as that of my textbook. You understand? That's if you don't have the electronic version of that textbook. But if you have the electronic version of the textbook, you just bring it here and it's fine. You understand now?
Thank you.
You are welcome. So any other question? So because with this, we at least we are good and we can ensure that our citations are okay. So if there are areas that needs, if there are information that you need to actually edit, you can see from your details page, you can actually edit if need be, especially with respect to local maybe publications, materials that are not online, or materials whose PDF has not been properly produced. So you may need to do a lot of manual editing with respect to the details. However, if the details, if the materials are in a particular folder, all you need to do is just click on that folder and drag everything into your library folder that has been created for that particular team or research area, and you have everything populated. So I think by and large, that is with this, we have I think we are at the intermediate level, and the rest will be for us to explore the web variant of our account. So and put our work. That reminds me. So here under this my publication is actually supposed to be your work. So your own publications, you can put them here. You can see these are mine. So once you have this desktop profile, you can put your publications here in the database. It's stored up for you, and you can because as you work, you can continue to refer to yes, that let me use this to answer madam. Please, are you still there? Can you see this? Let me show you this. For example, look at this. This is one of our own journal, is only in hard copy. The soft copy we are just trying to migrate to soft copy now. So you can see how it is. So I had to scan and do manual editing of the details. Do you understand? I think this answers your question. So unlike the other ones that are in electronic version, so you can see other ones in electronic version, they can easily be seen and all of that. So you can put all your work under my publications and is there in Mendeley. So any other question? Because I think we are gradually coming to the end of the session. So if it's clear, I think these are the
Dr. Faremi.
Yes, please.
Yeah, I wanted to ask if one like this my publications page that you
yes
that you just explained. So if I put
Yes.
in all my publications here, will it be visible to other Mendeley users?
Yes, it will be visible to other Mendeley users. In fact, I think maybe by the end of the month, because even Elsevier is trying to do an upgrade to the interface. So I think a date has been suggested but this month, so such that it can be synchronized with your Oshid and your Scopus account, so that for people to be able to see, so that it becomes visible. Hello, Ma, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Should we take maybe one or two more questions oral,
Yes.
verbally?
Yes, we
Okay,
can.
so
Yes, people
anybody
can unmute themselves and ask
yes,
questions. So going forward, the
right.
only thing you need to explore is just your profile. If I click on this, my profile here now, you can change your pictures. You can add, for example, you can add your Scopus account, add your OSID account, which also enhance whatever you have put in the uh, my publication for people to see. So you can see in my own case now, you can see my OSID account, you can see my Scopus account. Assuming you can write a little about yourself so that people from other Mendeley users can actually see. Then they can begin to count. These citations only count for Scopus index publications, because this is owned by Elsevier. So it automatically brings in whatever is referenced in Scopus and is cited in Scopus. It begins to count for you. So the earlier we actually migrate to its use, the better for us.
Okay, so do we have any questions? If you have a question, you can unmute and ask. We'll take 2-3 questions.
I have a question, ma.
Okay, please go
Please
ahead.
go ahead.
Now, thank you. I would like to know how to balance, because I remember last week you had told us that for our online Mendeley profile that we'll use the Chrome, that we should try and use a Gmail account. But before that, when I downloaded the Mendeley desktop, I had used my Unilag account. I don't know whether, because all these files that we're putting into the library, what I had to use was the drag into that was what worked. But in terms of using the web importer, there seemed to be a problem. So I don't know how to balance that. What account, because the importer was downloaded with Chrome using the Gmail as you advised. But my Mendeley desktop has another email. So I don't know how to reconcile that.
For
Thank
each, yes, you are welcome. I think each of the best advice is that you use your email address. You see, always use that email that you have used to open your Mendeley desktop.
Okay,
You understand? So automatically once you connect to the internet, it will be synchronizing those information. You understand? Somehow, somewhere along the line,
okay,
all of those things will be linked. You understand? By the time you begin to open a Scopus account, Google Scholar, it will link you up to the fact that you are the same person. You understand? Some of those things will require institution email, and it will link it to the fact that, oh, is this same person that's using this Gmail? Because of the fact that, you see, there are protocol control on institution emails, which you don't, is not within your own purview. That's why I always advise that we use another one. What happens if you move from University of Lagos to University of Ibadan? You can transfer your service.
Yeah.
You understand? You now begin to have a headache of writing to CITS for permission to migrate, to do all of that. You understand? So that's why oftentimes things like this, you use an email address that you can always, it will always be with you.
Dr. Faremi,
Yes, sir.
Can I just add to that?
Yes, sir.
With my experience in Covenant University,
In fact, you are a perfect example, sir.
the moment you let them know you are moving, they block your email.
Exactly.
Wow.
They block it off straight away.
Yeah.
And somebody else told me it's so in Unilag too.
Sir, he's not in only. I moved from the industry to the academics.
Yeah.
You understand? So I had done a lot of things with email that are even academic in nature. I got the flair for PhD from my industry practice. Well, we're writing reports for Shell, Total, Schlumberger. They could have actually been a very good basis for me to further on those things from the academic point of view. I couldn't access them. They will just, it's by default, it's part of the organization policy. They block you because you are no longer an insider.
Even my last payment in Covenant University, I was given a check. It was not transferred to my account.
Wow.
So yeah, I think it's one of those protocols and those policies. So we just need to begin with the end in mind. If you check my slide, you will see somewhere where I said you should begin with the end in mind.
Okay.
Did you see that particular page?
Well, I think
Sorry,
He's on the slide. He's on my slide. I said you should begin.
Yeah.
Now, sorry. Do you now suggest that we do all these on the private email address?
Cloud.
My strong suggestion, sir.
So which means the ones we did earlier on, we can delete and start all over again.
Yes, you can create another account if you have not, please.
Okay.
Stephen Covey, I think 7 habits of highly effective people. One of them is that you need to begin with the end in mind.
That's with the end in mind.
Yeah.
Yes.
The moment
you never can tell. You can move your service to the UK, to the US. Even those in the UK, they move from one institution to the other.
You won't have access to your account again.
Yeah, you shouldn't be restricted.
Okay, Adepoju Adetunji Salaudin, your mic is unmuted. Do you want to ask a question?
I just want to say that it's been a bit difficult for me getting through all over all what we have done today because of the network in my area here. And I've sent a message that probably if I could have recordings of all this, the program of today, so that I can view it back and sit down on my own and see what I can do about it. Thank you, ma'am.
Dr. Faremi.
Okay, I think maybe maybe what we do is that we have the initial recording, the link. Maybe I will appear that we share the link, but then later on, what I plan to do maybe in the coming weeks is to now merge the recording, the video of today and the starting section. Then we can also share that, but that will require a lot of editing so that the video won't be unnecessarily long. So all these are you there, so we can actually cut those ones off and make it a bit professional, that in maybe 30 minutes, 45 minutes someone can actually follow through. But because that may take a while, because I can't readily find out my software for editing videos. I used that 2 years ago.
Or maybe you make a special broadcast.
A video, a kind of a special video. But we can share this link. The center will share the link for this video as amateur as it is, so you can run with that in the interim until we're able to do that final one. I'm sure maybe by the time we are doing the editing, it will still be we discuss that later at the center.
Let me tell participants, that one will not be free. This is a master class. You should be paying.
So exactly. So that
we made it free. So
whatever at all the case may be, it is desirable it is desirable for one to have it if one actually
Yes.
mean to get to
Well,
it.
if you listen to him, what he has said is that the links for this meeting will be shared.
Yes.
But it may be very long because it will not be
Yes.
edited, but it will be shared. So you will have access to this one once we are done and we're able to get the secretariat to do that. So and that goes for everybody. Let me
Thank you
ask
very much.
Mohammed to speak now.
Good
Mohammed,
afternoon.
do you want? Yeah.
Good afternoon, sir.
And then we take Olusegun Odujole@yahoo.com, and that would be all. Thank you.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Sir, my question is just simple, because I missed some part of the lecture. So basically, while you are working, is it that you are not allowed to copy and paste anything on your work? You have to type all through.
Yes, you are not allowed to copy and paste because the next level is that plagiarism. You understand? So anything you copy and paste, turn it in, picks the same fonts, the source of the material, and it sees that as plagiarism. You know, we've had people having high plagiarism index, not because they have copied another
similarity index.
Yes, similarity index. Not because they have copied somebody's work. You can imagine you are given a project title and Turnitin picks that title as plagiarized. You know, it can be very, very embarrassing because you have not typed it yourself. You understand? For example, you pick something from your title as something in Lagos State. Maybe the perception of people towards COVID-19 incidents and whatever in Lagos State, which is something that you feel is novel, but because that's in Lagos State, you copied it from somewhere, he's picking it out as copied. So I strongly advise my students to always to just type out their text. It doesn't take anything away from you.
And modify the structure of the sentence.
Of course, that has been demonstrated in the example that we did today. So you paraphrase it. You understand? You can see the way we actually had to go about the fact that the COVID-19 commenced from Hubei in the province of China. So it will have been a shortcut to copy and paste, but obviously the similarity index, if you run the similarity index text, will be very high, and that becomes another problem.
Thank you, sir.
All right, you're welcome.
Okay. So I think the other person is network as he's here. Olusegun Odujole @yahoo.com.
Okay, thank you. I think my question has been answered by Dr. Faremi. That video of his lecture.
Can anybody hear him?
Yes, I can hear him.
My question has been answered by Dr. Faremi.
Okay.
That a video will be produced later. I think that's my question. Thank you.
Great. Okay, thank you so much. Now, can we have 2 people to give a vote of thanks to Dr. Faremi?
I volunteer.
Anybody? Okay. So, and who else? Okay, let's have you, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. I would like to really thank Dr. Faremi, not only for your time, but for your patience. Last week, you took so much, 3 hours, fuel in your generator. You took everybody along. It is very well appreciated. Thank you so much. Thank you for this week. Thank you for being patient.
Yeah.
I feel like I wish I could find more words, better than thank you. But we really do appreciate you. Thank you very much, sir. God bless you.
You are most welcome, ma. Thank you so much, ma.
You want to introduce yourself so everybody knows you, ma?
My name is Dr. Olasumbo Olusoya, of the Department of Employment Relations and Human Resources, University of Lagos.
Thank you so much, ma. Thank you very much, ma. Yes,
ma. Any other person? YJ? Uwaje, do you want to appreciate Dr. Faremi?
Yes,
okay,
I want to. Dr. Faremi,
okay, go on.
want to say a very big thank you. This did not come to me as a surprise. You have experienced it in my undergraduate days, the way you've been dishing out knowledge to students. So I'm not surprised we are having this. On behalf of all the MSc students, many of us are in the class now. I say thank you so much for this. We'll look forward to see more of this from you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, Uwaje.
And Joshua also do his volunteering too. Joshua Osondu, you can talk now.
Good afternoon, everyone. I want to say a very big thank you to Dr. Faremi, and thank you, Ma, also for the assistance answering people's questions in the chat section. Like Uwaje said earlier, it is not really a surprise to some of us. I remember when I was in final year and Dr. Faremi brought up the whole Mendeley aspect and everything. I know how much I was one of the people that fought against it. I know we don't want to learn it and everything. But he insisted, and it was a big success. It made our whole writing of our project very, very easy. It helped us in the arrangement of our references and everything. So thank you so much, sir, for the time, the data, and the continuous efforts. We really appreciate it. I really appreciate it. It has made research very, very easy for me. Thank you.
Thank you, Joshua. Thank you. I appreciate.
So thank you so much, Dr. Faremi. Honestly, words cannot describe. It's like watching a magic show. I mean, I remember that was my impression last week when I did the literature search as you instructed, and I saw all the materials that came. I was like, oh my God, where was I? Where have I been all this while? And been traveling through the internet trying to find materials, and it's just right here, all organized, ready for use. So I mean, these are the kind of breakthrough moments that we experience as academics, and I don't know what cannot just be enough to thank you for freely giving of your time and your knowledge. May God continue to bless you and increase you in knowledge. You have just started. Greater heights always by the grace of God. And long life and prosperity, and all the very, very best. So on behalf of the Center for Housing, the Center for Housing and Sustainable Development, Professor Nubi could not be here. Foundation exams are going on, so he's supervising, but he sent his regards, and I want to really appreciate you for taking time to do it. For all participants, I also want to thank you once again for turning up en masse, just like you did last week, and doing all of this to improve yourselves. And there are so many capacity building opportunities that we'll still be bringing on board at the center. So now that we have your emails and all of that, we will be sending information out to you, and we look forward to your participation. So goodbye, everybody, and God bless. God bless you all. Expect the links in your emails. Shortly. Yes.
Thanks, Doc. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you very much, madam. I'm very grateful.
Everybody.